There's copies of the agenda and minutes and financial reports in the back, and if you didn't get a chance to sign in, please do that. And I want to welcome everybody and thank you all for coming, and thank you for supporting me and supporting Karen and the rest of the board. We're here to work together, and I want to do something that we used to do all the time, and it does take a few minutes, but especially this first meeting, I want to be sure that I can identify every person in this room. So just a quick introduction of yourself, your name and the district you represent and or the role that you, club that you represent and or the role, or if you're a guest, then you can say that too. So I'm Elena Loomis, I am District 5, and I am your newly elected chair. So.
I'm Jen Black, District 5, and executive.
I'm Coble. I District 5. Been here since the concrete was poured.
Gary Carnes, I represent Senator Mine on this committee. I'm several subcommittees, issues committee, the main committee, etc. So, enjoy being here. Enjoy your company.
Vince Kohler, representing the ultimate for Jimmy Panetta on this committee, and Dr. Lee.
My name is Victoria, I represent District 1, Salinas.
Stu Samuels, alternate for Virginia Gage, District 2.
Good evening, Virginia Gage, primary for District 2.
Let's go back here first before we keep going. For the club, right?
Yeah.
Snakes Down Club. Okay, great, thank you.
Maria Luisa or Mary Lou, Barovias, District 2 in Salinas.
My name is Oliver Mary for District 1.
Okay, now Sophie,
Do you want to say it? No?
our newest member.
This is Sophie. She is in kindergarten in the City Elementary School District, and she is a future Democrat. And she's my niece's niece, so you're training her now. And my name is Catherine Ramirez, and I'm an alternate for Anthony Rocha in District 2.
Yvonne Stone, elected member of the Monterey County Democratic City Committee, many years.
What district belongs?
That's a good question.
We'll look it up. Go ahead, thank
Esther Malkin, I'm an alternate for January meeting, District 5.
Great.
Alan Hoffa, representative for the Progressive Club.
Stephen Lauro, I'm for District 4.
Herbert Cortez, I represent District 4.
Ian Oglesby, representing CDEMS.
Dominic Dursa, Executive Board for Assembly District 30.
Linda Bino, Democratic Club of the Monterey Peninsula.
I'm Caspian Forsyth, District 5 and Financial Officer.
Olive Lowe, District 4 alternate and current chair of the Ad Hoc Bylaws Committee.
Yay.
Joe Aliotti, current secretary, and Bylaws Committee, Pro Dems Committee, Fundraising Election Committee, Registration Subcommittee,
Setup committee.
Setup Committee. Yeah.
I'm Karen Araujo. I'm the first vice chair. I represent Assembly District 30. I'm also chair of the Credentials Committee, and I'm a member of the Ad Hoc Committee for Endorsement Process Review and Bylaws Review.
And back here.
Purview. And Margaret Sedna Benetti. I live in District 2. I'm your guest today. Welcome to see everyone.
Hello everyone, my name is Timothy Miguel, alternate for District 1.
My name is Ted Whiteneck. I was the alternate for District 5, but I can't do that anymore because of this injury. I moved into Salinas. wonder, living in that district, so I guess that's available if anyone wants to be
Okay, for David Long.
alternative for District 5.
Somebody who lives in Greenfield. James?
I'm James Green. I'm primary for District 1. I've been on the bylaws committee. And by the way, Monday is my 60th birthday, so presents are accepted.
My name is Mary Grace Smith, with alternate for Levon.
Thanks for being here.
Hi, my name is Lois Florio, and I'm an AD30 delegate.
Yay, thank you. Oh, Wes and Brett? Yeah.
Wes White, former, I'm just, I don't think I'm a title anymore.
Well,
Salinas.
You're our media guy.
Same cameraman, Dread.
Okay. Well, thank you, Dred and Wes, for always being on top of keeping track of us. So, secretaries, sorry.
David.
Sorry, David.
David Willett, Marina Democrat, and Sports District.
Great, thank you. Anybody else in this? Okay. Secretary's report?
So we do have a quorum. We have 24 members here, ready to go. And we have a couple people ready to go.
Okay. That would be Timothy.
In agenda review, I was actually going to make a request about that.
Oh, okay, so shall we wait a moment for agenda review? Yes.
I have a request that we move taking the oath down till after public comment because Dulce's not here.
Okay, okay. And it's actually a change of who's going to be taking it, right? Because Bob is not here. Bob was going to switch to be okay, but he's not going to be here to your knowledge?
I don't know. He's got family in town, couldn't make it.
Okay, all right. So without objection, we're going to move the oath to after public comment. Okay. Any other changes to the agenda? Okay, so I guess all in favor of approving the agenda?
Aye.
Opposed? All right, approved. So public comment, 1 minute public comment. Anybody who would like to move on a topic that is not on the agenda. Regina?
I actually have 3 things, and I have a total of 1 minute and 1 minute per thing.
It's 1 minute.
Total.
All right, I'm wasting precious time. Hello, first of all, congratulations, Elena, on being our new chair. So,
thank you.
Congratulations, I know you'll do a great job.
Thank you.
Secondly, I wanted to just talk about some things that I perceive that happened at the last meeting, and I personally should have stood up. I'm not going to call out anybody by name, but there were several people who talked about being so positive, and they had wonderful things to say about you, and then I thought there were a few people who engaged in what I perceived as a character assassination of you, Karen, and I'm sorry that I, for whatever reason, didn't stand up and just ask that it be stopped. So you deserve better than that. The third thing is I would really like clarification, considering it came up at the last meeting, on the dues policy. I know that I try to pay them consistently. Everyone's in a different situation, but I think that in the spirit of transparency, we have a right to know what the dues policy is. How do you get a waiver? How is it approved? How often can you choose a waiver? So those are my 3 items that I just wanted to touch on tonight.
Okay, and that sounds like something that we need to investigate and not answer tonight unless somebody has an answer.
Oh, I'm sorry, it's just more of a comment, and I could have sent you an email asking that to be on the agenda.
Okay, so if we put it on for next time, then we'll investigate and have an answer for it.
Right, thank you.
Any other public comment?
Hands up.
Okay, Savon and then Paula. And, sorry, go ahead.
My comment has to do with housing, as usual.
Okay.
And I see that they're building a massive apartment building in Chinatown. And there's only supposed to be from 10 to 12 homeless people in this building. And everybody else is running full speed ahead to get in. And then in Seaside, I got a phone call that there's going to be a massive apartment building in Seaside, and there might be 15 affordable or low-income people in that building. What are we doing here in Monterey County? Are we trying to tell people that they're not welcome in their own communities, in their own county? That we're going to replace them with the more well-to-do folks? That is the message that seems to be going on around here. And we need to do something about it if we're representing everybody, not just some people.
I second that.
Thank you.
Me too.
And thank you.
Sure.
I have it down, Levon. Maybe we can talk afterwards about what that would look like. Paula, and then Patty.
I just want to bring to your attention, one of our Marina Democratic Club board members, Dr. Tom Ward, who's also one of our district, has asked that we think about stopping using the word tariffs in all of our discussions with each other and with other people, and instead refer to them as import taxes, because that's really what they are. Cognitive linguist Schleikoff, who's a professor at UC Berkeley in their neuroscience department, has talked over and over again that if you don't frame things properly yourselves, you're allowing other people to frame them for you. So it's really, that's just an awareness exercise, but I think it's something that I'm going to implement myself, and I hope that other people do as well. And if you want more information, you can always look George Schleikoff up, because he's got fabulous information out there about how to reframe things, and it actually changes your thinking and your biology.
Can you say that name again?
Lakoff, Lakoff.
Patty, I'm sorry, she had her yes and then. Yeah.
So thank you for the opportunity. So I'm Margaret Senapanetti. I've lived in this county for, well, my whole life, Tri-County area. Today I'm requesting this opportunity to come in front of you as the president of a new LULAC chapter that is established on the Monterey Peninsula. We're LULAC Council 3280, and so for those who, I know some of you are LULAC members probably here and in other counties, but just a little bit about LULAC. LULAC is an organization that is, it's a League of United Latino American Citizens. Anyway, at any rate, right now is a very important time for us as Latinos. And we welcome all the partnership that we can get from our white brothers and sisters, everything that we are going through as Latinos being targeted. I mean, it doesn't even matter who you are or whether you voted for Trump or not, you're being targeted. And so we're really doing everything we can. We're members of District 12. If I can't just go I'll wrap it up. Okay. So we're members of the District 12 Council, and there are 8 of us councils together, which we are really coming together in order to work together as Latinos. Something that I think has been lacking, and I will just say it, in the past with Latinos being so fragmented, they forget about keeping their eye on the prize, and they do all the work for their opponents, I'll just say, by going against each other. This is something we hope to end, and I'm here to introduce myself to you. You can reach out to me, reach out to any of my other cohorts and presidents from any of the other councils, inviting anyone who is interested in joining my council on the Monterey Peninsula. And I just want you to know I'm here, and I hope to partner with you that much more going into the future, because hopefully you will be seeing more of us out there and asking for your support on issues that are important to the Latino community. And we got to get to a meeting.
Thank you.
Okay,
thank you.
Okay.
Margaret, can you be sure we have your information then? Email it to me.
Absolutely. I'm signed in.
Oh, okay.
And I will
Okay,
say,
great.
I think I'm in the process of changing my email right now.
Okay. Okay, so we'll get, as soon as you can get that to us. Thank you, and congratulations.
And going back to the worship comment, I heard the news, the country was speaking that they wanted to send some of the homeless by property out of state and send some of those people.
Yes. Like, put them on a bus and send them somewhere? Okay.
Oh, really?
It was on the news. Any other public comment? Okay, Vince.
One, just on behalf of Representative Jimmy Panetta, big thank you to our outgoing chair, Alan Hoffa, for the incredible service he provided to the committee. As a former chair, I appreciate in particular what that means. It's not an easy committee to manage, despite all the wonderful talent that's in the room. And also a big thank you to both of you who ran for vice chair, for chair, from the position of vice chair. It's also not easy to run for office, actually. So Jimmy is particularly grateful, and again, it's another peaceful transition in this county. We show that it can be done. And so one of the things that this committee has always been characterized by over as long as I've been around, and I think this group includes Carl, who's been around a little longer than I have, is that this unity and the fact that we are a big umbrella party that has diverse views, no problem with that at all. And fighting it out hard is no problem at all. But anyway, a big thank you to those who are in the position of leadership and are willing to continue to do that. So.
I just wanted to bring your attention to the fact that there's been issues with live PD, and some elected officials are talking about making resolutions against it, and we would hope that we could get some support by anyone, even on the peninsula. And you might not have seen it, but it really portrays Latinos in a bad light, and basically it's like when someone tells you, oh, you're a good Mexican, as opposed to what the rest are bad, and I'm the good one, you know, and we're not bad people, and they're not, and I'm just going to throw it out there, because they're not doing live PD in criminality. Okay, and crime happens there, you know, because I worked at the parole office. You got criminals out there. And so, I know who they are, too. And I'll let you all know if someone's in here. But what I'm saying is that it's not good. One of our kids could be pulled over and put on that TV show, and then their lives are ruined, and then they can't get a job. And this is not right, and it's not, I'm not concerned. What if I get pulled over? What if you get pulled over? So, you know, I just want you guys to be aware of it, because if it's not happening to you, it's not happening in your city, where you live, it is happening, and it's a persecution of Latinos and Salinas.
Is there something we could do, like give it to the issues committee to
So
write
Anthony is
a
working on it,
Okay.
and so I'll have
You'll
him.
have it. Okay.
It's also happening to African Americans, been happening forever. I guess it'll keep on happening forever.
Don't, you know, fights, they don't go to seaside either, because they'll be there.
Just saying.
Okay. Thank you, and we'll look forward to getting that from you.
Thank you.
Yes.
I'd like to echo support for some of the things that Levon was talking about. I know that there, in the Bay Area, there are a number of mayors that are focusing on homelessness as being the major California issue. And it's been a simmering issue here for a long time. Maybe Ellen has something he can say about it. But I think we need to get in here and do what we can to push the process. I mean, it's a shame that we are the richest country in the world and we can't house the people on the streets. It hurts me every time I pass somebody who's standing there with their hand up. It's awful. Anyway, that's my thing.
On this topic as well, Wes?
Great. Wes White, Salinas resident, District 1, and I guess, or District 4 now. Basically, there's the California Commission on Homelessness that's headed up by Mayor Steinberg of Sacramento, backed by Gavin Newsom, that has a homeless right to shelter initiative that they're trying to do. Basically, they put you in a housing, substandard, whatever, go, or you go to jail. So one way or another, they're going to make money off you and they're going to get you off the street. But the thrust that is right now, and maybe hopefully we can make that an issue as well, kind of opposing the attitude and approach of just like, well, we just need to warehouse people and it doesn't matter how they're treated and it doesn't even matter if they qualify for where they're at. You know, we just need to make, you know, where it's at right now, people are intense, and we can make that more like apartment complexes, and you know, people who trash and food is in this place, and you know, that's a sanctioned encampment is kind of what needs to be put forward.
Okay, and then, again, is that something that we should ask the issues committee to look into and endorsing that policy, or,
It goes beyond that.
so, I've thought this for a long time. We have reserved half an hour at the beginning of our meetings when requested for some sort of a presentation on an issue that is percolating, and this is certainly one that's been percolating. I wonder if it might be appropriate, Alan, I know you're involved in housing in Monterey. I know Tyler Williamson is on a housing committee. I think Esther, you are too. Would that be something that we could have, maybe a 15, 20-minute presentation and then a Q&A, and at least then we would be, as a committee, informed, perhaps with...
I can pass that on to Tyler and the committee.
And I have a written Coble meeting, so.
Okay, so it would be great is if you guys work together to put something on and then really illuminate for us what an action step might be at the end of that. Esther?
Yeah, so I'm the director of Monterey Peninsula Renters United, and I just want to reiterate the numbers that came out in the census that they did about the homeless, that 59% of the people who are homeless are homeless because of financial issues.
Yes.
And, you know, the demographic is 51 and over, and people who have lived in this area for over a decade is 40% of them.
And they close the days down.
So what we need, what I want to make sure that we start addressing is affordable housing because of the direct link that you have to homelessness with it. We have a lot of advocacy groups that all talk about helping the homeless, but we have to talk about prevention. And I attended the HEAP meetings, and there were all these people up there like Shark Tank looking to get the money, and not a single one talked about prevention. We've got to address the prevention, which the way we do that is we have to address housing regionally, and it has to be affordable. We cannot continue with this gentrification that's coming down the pipeline from San Jose.
Okay, so again, can I ask those folks that are, looks like the three of you for sure, maybe we can chat just really briefly after the meeting about how to make that happen, okay? Whether it happens next month or the following month. Okay, any other public comment? Anybody else show up that we missed? Oh, Alex. Want to introduce yourself?
Hi, I'm Alex. I don't really have any public comment.
No, but we introduced ourselves at the last meeting, so I'm sorry to put you on the spot.
Long time, I guess, political gadfly, as that's the term. No, but good to be here.
Thanks for coming. Okay, we're going to postpone the taking the oath a little bit because some of the other person's stuck in traffic, which is understood. So consent agenda. I hope you've already had a chance to look at the minutes and financial reports. Anybody want to pull anything related to the minutes or financial reports?
I move approval of the consent agenda.
Okay. Any discussion? Okay, all in favor of approving the minutes and the financial reports? The consent agenda? Okay, thanks. All right. Election of new vice chair. So we've had one candidate speak up, Gary, and I guess officially some meetings to nominate you, I think. Okay, and a second for Gary?
I'll second.
Okay, great. Anybody else decided to throw in their hat and run for vice chair? Assembly District 29. Yeah, right. Okay, well, I don't see anybody raising their hand, so looks like Gary is our candidate.
Can it give him the satisfaction of all saying
Yeah, no, absolutely. That's what I was going to be my next thing. You would just by unanimous consent say aye. I bet Heidi wants you to talk people out of it.
Actually, I've seen candidates talk themselves out of a vote. I'm not sure if they're candidates, but yeah, I think this committee is where it's at. I mean, the Democratic Party and the It is. I mean, the labor council, there's a lot of things we can all do with our time. I mean, for some reason, I've been involved with the Democratic Party my whole life. My parents were not political. And I just found it fascinating and the avenue to change the world. One of the many avenues to change the world. The policy. So, you know, I want to support Elena and Karen especially, and Joe and Caspian, and make this committee something to be feared by the Republicans. Drive them out of existence, basically.
All right.
We did pretty good last year. We moved the needle quite a bit last year. And a couple more election cycles. And despite what happens at the national level, and of course we're all looking for the best, we also have to drive the Republicans into our own, you know what's going to happen though, we're going to start showing up here. We know they're getting in town. So we'll have to cross that bridge again, but I appreciate the vote.
You're right. Okay, so by unanimous consent, we have a clause and an I for Gary. All right.
Thank you.
You want to move chairs or you just stay
No,
right
I'm
there?
good.
Okay, good, good. I know, I always like to sit there too, so that's fine. All right, so the next topic. Well, actually, before that, I wanted to echo what Vince said about Alan. We really appreciate your service, and I'm going to look to you for mentoring. I've already called on Vince, and Carl and I drove here together, so I got his input this month. I hope to drive with Alan and get his input as well. So thank you again for your service. We really appreciate it, and good luck. And we know you're obviously you're with us. Anyway, okay. So we have a shortened election cycle this year because the state party or whoever it is who decides these things moved up the primary to March. And so it has been suggested that we might want to move up our endorsement process. And I want to, make sure that everybody has a chance to weigh in on that if they want to, and then we would vote to authorize that to happen and convene an endorsement committee. I've already been speaking to a few people. Most of them have said yes. Some have said they can't do it because of timing. But I think it's an important thing so that our endorsement is of the most value to whichever candidates we endorse. If we wait and do it in the traditional timing, which would be after the filing period, which I believe closes sometime in December, really hard to have a meeting in December, which probably mean we do it in January, which means, you get the timing of it. So this is up for discussion. People have concerns, questions, or we'll just vote on it.
Yeah, I had some concerns about this because if the filing, typically we wait until everybody's had a chance to file. So this looks like we're going to be going. And I get the brief timeline, we don't have meetings to say. But, if someone else enters the race and it's filed, they're screwed. They have no opportunity to come to us and seek endorsement. And so I can't. And I hadn't looked at this before, and I talked about it, but now that I look at it, I think that this is problematic. And I realize it's a short time, and, maybe, I'm not sure if it's a rule of the state party, that we have to wait till the filing time, or what the ruling is on that. David Brand was more about this, but I have a real problem with that. There's a filing deadline in December. We could be endorsing early, and then there might be another candidate who has no opportunity to see her endorsement. I don't think that's what our party committee is about. So.
Okay. Good. Vince and then James.
I understand your concern, and I think one way in which we've handled this in the past, this is a precedent, we've done this once before, is that we make endorsement be valid through the opening of the filing period. And if others enter, the committee has the right, the committee always has the right to change its mind, you know. Mother Teresa runs, and people say, you know, we thought so-and-so was good, but, you know, this person believes better, and so we change our mind. That's okay, that can't be done. That's up to the committee. So we've made that determination, and in fact, even under our current rules, the candidates are endorsed through the opening of the filing period. Our current electeds are endorsed through the opening of the filing period, and they will then, the endorsement then is not valid until it's confirmed by the committee. So we actually have that already in our provision. So I don't see any reason why we couldn't make that sure. That should address your concern. Is that?
Can I speak again?
Sure,
I mean,
yeah.
it doesn't address it because I know we've done it before. I had a question about it when it was done before as well. I think that there's an obligation if there are other people who file. First off, I think it's a discouragement to other people who maybe should file. And I'm not thinking of any particular race or any particular person, but I think it could be a discouragement to other people because, well, what's the point? They've already endorsed. And I think if this does go forward, personally, I'm not voting tonight, I'm not supporting it, but if it does go forward, there needs to be some obligation to inform people and stay on top of any other candidate who files, and I think there needs to be some communication on the website that would tell people that this is not a fatal plea necessarily, as you said, but basically as this is proposed here, I would support it.
Okay. David and James?
I also see problems with this. Many candidates, once the endorsement is announced, instantly begin preparing materials, alerting staff, preparing other information about this endorsement. So I see that as a problem. I don't think there's a real good remedy. We could say race by race, a candidate would have to ask for every endorsement so that the other endorsements would go through, but they had to extend the endorsement process even longer, so that becomes problematic. There really isn't a good solve for it, other than opening up December for endorsements. And just bite the bullet on that. You just have to see how much of a hit we take on that. If we try to make the endorsement process as efficient and as quick as possible, December could work. If we all understand why we're doing it.
So your proposal would be to just, like Paul, stick with the current timeline just after the close of filing?
Rather than saying, well, then if someone comes in later, we'll reconsider everything. I think it's a tremendous discouragement for someone to, in a major office, someone has already been endorsed, your funds will be cut off. You will not have any access to any real resources once the party is already endorsed. So it's more than just a discouragement. It's a death knell for any other offices.
Okay, I think Catherine and James, then Alan. Catherine, did you have your hand?
I did, and so it's already, if you're talking, there's two different, I guess, elections that we're talking about. Because if you're talking about a school board race, September's already late. Because the closing, I know, but I'm just saying, I'm just in general, it's already late because the closing period for the school board, city council, mayor it closes like in August. And then you run in November. For the county supervisors, you have the primary. And I can tell you from experience of being endorsed by the Democrats is then we have to hurry up and we have to get a mailer and it costs a lot of money and everybody is congesting the printer and it would be nice to have two timelines for the different types of elections. But when you have a primary, I mean, you have to come, if you do it towards the end, then you can't even tout it. I mean, most people already kind of know, who they're going to go with, and maybe we could have some influence as Democrats. And are we stumping ourselves by sticking to a certain timeline? I like the precedents, that said, where we can have some leeway and have the endorsement committee come back and change things. But we could be hurting ourselves, by not changing the process and keeping it the way that it is. I support the change.
And I just want to say, this is only for this primary. We're not talking about changing it for the other upcoming elections.
But I just wanted to delineate the two.
Yeah, right, understood. James? And Alan and Caesar and Gary.
There are some races that are going to be more contentious, that require more lead time than others. If you're running for the city council of Chular, you don't need as much lead time for your campaign as you do for county supervisor. So perhaps one way around it is we specify certain categories of offices, county supervisors, perhaps some mayors, as being a little bit ahead in our endorsement. Also, in those cases, if we're going to give our endorsement, do we really want to give our endorsement to someone who didn't file until the very last minute in some of these positions? I said, one thing, if you're city council of Chular, fine, file on the last day. If you're running for the county supervisor, you should really have been, for the day one or day two, you should have been with the application. That's my point of view. Thank you.
And again, we're only talking about this election, and the only seats we need to be endorsing are the supervisorial seats. We're not talking about mayors or school board at this moment in time. Gary. And then Caesar, I'm sorry. And Alan. Sorry.
Someone else here?
Well, I think Alan was, but
Go ahead.
go ahead.
Oh, well, there's 3 supervisorial races. As far as I know, there's 8 candidates, and they're all Democrats. 4 in District 4, Seaside, Marina, South Salinas. 3 in District 1, Luis Leo, Tony Barrera, and Fernando Armenta. And then Mary Adams doesn't have an opponent, as far as I know. So those are the races. Whether anybody asks for our early endorsement or not, would consider all 3 of those races. And I think part of the I can't imagine anybody, the filing period, anybody who is, I don't know, there's already 4 people running in the 4th. I mean, to have someone wait until the filing period, it just doesn't seem like a very likely to gain any traction. And then, I mean, I'm in favor of the early process because actually allows us to pick the best Democrat, because that's all we're choosing among, and be able to help them win.
Okay. Alan?
Okay.
Caesar?
So I'm just going to echo, yes, I think we should do it for this. Supervisor races are different from city council, school boards, where you can wait till the last minute. If somebody hasn't announced now, how are they going to raise $200,000? I mean, they're not likely going to be a plus. They're not likely a serious candidate. And so I think that for this race, there's also the value to the candidate, and I think Catherine spoke to it, and I bet Regina will too, that if you don't have that endorsement early enough, it really handicaps you. And it degrades the value of our endorsement because they're not able to do as much with it. So for this, I think yes, we maybe need to have another conversation about what we want to do next fall, a different time.
Thank you. Caesar?
I'll just be brief, echo what everybody said. I speak in favor of it because as a board of supervisor candidate, I think it's important for the party to look at viability, and for us to wait until later, like December, would be too late. And we're talking about a county supervisor race that we would need at least 200 plus to run. And to be viable, you need to be known now. And so the party should take that into consideration when doing that.
Caesar, may I ask when the Labor Council is doing their endorsement?
We're talking about doing endorsements in early October. October 6th, I think, is the date.
So they're doing an early endorsement then?
Yeah, we're not calling it early, we're just talking about
doing it.
Doing it.
We're going to do it.
Okay. Well, we'll just call it endorsement if we approve it or not, if we don't approve it. Herbert and then Regina.
Regina was
Regina was at the end. Okay, Regina. Sorry, I thought I jumped into the middle. Yeah.
Scared to
death.
So I echo what Vin said and what Alan said and Caesar said, and then I'll maybe a deterrent. It could be an incentive. If somebody's waiting and mulling it over that they're suddenly going to be able to raise 200 plus, maybe the fact that, okay, we've given this early endorsement with the caveat that there's still a possibility. I really don't think that's going to be possible, so I would absolutely support doing it for this particular moment in time.
Thank you. And Herbert, okay, we'll go on, and then Herbert, and then back to James.
I know everybody calls this kind of stuff politics, but for me, politics exists for one reason. That's so that we can have people who represent us in our community, in our state, in our nation, and so we won't have to be on the ground floor all the time and called low income people because we can't fit into the a higher echelon of folks. And we need to know if we're being really represented, or the people with the most money. It seems like this political game is about money and who can raise it, who can support him, and who can just take care of those up there. When are we going to have a list to go around to our representatives or whoever we're trying to put in the office to see where they really stand? Not for one particular group, but for the people who need to be represented. When is that going to happen? I've been sitting here looking, listening, and all of the stuff circles around who got all this money and they can run for office. Why in the name of God do we have to, we cannot run for office because we don't have the political clout, we don't have the money, and so nothing ever really gets done for us? I want somebody to answer that.
You know, well, maybe we should hold off. Let's get the comments, because that's another topic, the money, and that has been looked at before.
They've been mentioning money,
Yeah.
talk about money.
Herbert, thank you, Levon. The money is a huge issue.
I just want to say I understand David and Paul's point of view as far as their concerns, but I vote for early endorsement because I think the endorsement aspect we have is probably our greatest tool, and so we have to strategically use it, right? These are important races, and so we have the two, let's maximize it. Let's not kid around, and let's really focus on which the candidate, who's the best candidate for us, and so that's why I'm voting for early endorsement.
Can I say something here?
Paula, and then Marilu, and then Carl.
Dominic, I'm sorry. Just a couple of things. I hear everybody, and I'm sympathetic to what you're saying. I really am. I just think that if we're going to do this, I think Vince made the suggestion, he gave a suggestion that he said that we could always unwind it and endorse somebody else if they come along. He said Mother Teresa, but I don't think she's going to come along. So I think that it is then incumbent on us to make sure that we let anybody out there, whether we know who they are or not, that this is our process this year and which races it's for, so that people have that opportunity to come in early, as you're saying, rather than later. And that might mean public speaking at different events, at city council meetings, at the board of supervisors meeting, some type of public comment, and something on our website that says that we're doing this endorsement early. With that, I could go ahead and support this, but I think we have to do that because otherwise it's not really fair. The other side of that is for people who are printing campaign material, they list the endorsements and they may have to unwind that if somebody, if Mother Teresa did show up. But I think we really have to be very careful about that, and we have to tell people that this is a different process for this race and which races you're talking about.
Great. And then, okay, Dominic, and then you had your hand up. Mary Lou. Okay, Mary Lou, and then Dominic.
I just wanted to let you know, people who make money who are running, the reason people give them money and they pick up donations because they see the work. You know, if people are not working out there, they're not going making meetings, you know, talking to people, you know, of course they're not going to make money. I mean, she just said, we know that we're going to get up and get up there with the money, you know. You can be poor, but if you go out to the houses to bring your meetings, you know, people will see you work and people will donate money for you, whatever you're doing. Because I'm the kind of person that if I see somebody working on issues,
I'm willing to donate money to that person because I see his work. So just understand this, it doesn't matter if you're bored, but if you're not working, you're not going up there, of course you're not gonna make money.
Yes, we are doing that.
You know, you need to work and you need to see, people need to see you and then they donate the money for you.
Okay.
There's
All right. Okay, Dominic, thank you, Mary Lou.
Yeah, I mean, I get the principle, it's a little strange to do it before the filing deadline, but I'm certainly a realist looking at the fact that this, whoever this mythical person is, if they haven't showed their face around here yet, they're not counting on our endorsement anytime soon if they sign in on the last day. I mean, that's just the reality of the situation. Besides money, besides everything, if somehow we don't know this one random person and they haven't showed up, let's be realistic. A lot of the endorsement here, there's only, what, 3 questions basically that get asked. Most of what the endorsement is who they know here. It's not how well they answered the 3 questions in person and endorsement committee or a piece of paper that really you'd have to be pretty stupid to flunk at. You know, like, are you a Democrat? They're not going to answer no. They're not going to say something stupid like, do you support climate change? No, I don't. You know, will you work to support other Democrats in defeating Trump? Oh, no, I wouldn't. Find me the person who's ever answered something negatively. That could be the first time. You know, so the one question I have is, you know, I don't mind doing this early. My question would be, when would the mailer be sent out? Because obviously we have to wait on the endorsements that get made for ADs 29, 30, and SD 17. And that doesn't happen until middle of November, which is awkward for us because that's a horrible time to send mail. So that's the discussion I'm a little more interested in, is how are we going to promote whatever endorsement we make?
Okay, so that's kind of a separate question,
Yeah.
but point
Well,
taken.
I'm for the early
Point taken.
endorsement.
Okay, I think, was it Carl? Oh, no, you know what, James has had his hand up, although he spoke. Okay, so quick, James, because you already spoke, and then we're going to go to the other
I want to tag on
people.
to something that was said earlier about everyone running as Democrats in the county supervisor. It's been a thing among the Republican Party since Karl Rove through the Tea Party Patriots to the modern Trump Party, that if you're a Republican in a district where you can't win as a Republican, pretend to be a Democrat. And I think that we've got at least one person coming up in the county supervisor races that falls into that category. And I'll say more about that if and when he asks for our endorsement.
Okay, Carl and then Karen.
Yeah, I just wanted to say 2 things. I've heard some very good comments here, but the most important thing we do as a committee is endorsement. Flat out, that's the most important thing we do. Secondly, it's going to take some courage, because you have 3 supervisorial seats and 8 Democrats running. There are going to be 5 unhappy Democrats. Be aware of that. That's all I'm saying.
Yeah, thank you.
I'd like to ask a question to anyone that knows the answer to about the deadlines, and then I have 2 short comments. So when does the filing open? I don't have my notes with me. September? Who knows that? Okay. So all of you that don't have a flip phone like me, let's look at that. The first thing I want to say is, as someone who has been either a co-chair or the sole chair of our endorsement committee while we're here, I refute a comment that was stated that it matters who you know here. I find this body to be highly principled, really values-based, and I know that I have supported someone who was the right candidate based on our policies, even though someone who was a friend or someone I personally liked was also a candidate. And I know the same thing applies to other people here. So I don't agree with that. I think we're a highly principled, values-based organization and always moving further towards that. So I don't agree it matters who you know. The second thing is, if I'm correct about when the filing opens, I believe we can satisfy the concerns of those who have some apprehension about this, as long as we make it into, announce it fully and make it into that opening period, then people can know, okay, we're doing this, I better file now, I better file in the first week, because they're moving forward with the endorsements. So we don't have to wait to the end of the filing period, and we don't have to do it before the filing period. We can do it, you know, we can wrap it up like a week into the opening of the filing period. So it meets the concerns of people who say there may be people out there we don't know about, which is that's true, we can't refute that. There may be people out there we don't know about. And it allows us to move forward with people who do need our bump early on. So I would ask an answer to that question of when the filing date opens.
Anybody better than me at finding that answer?
It's on the Monterey County website. There is a calendar timeline.
I don't think it says a date.
It does. It has a big long.
Yeah, but I think on our phones it's called.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, it's a different one.
Okay, but it's sometime, so,
Go in the
Karen,
back.
can I understand what you're
Elena.
proposing, that we would notify people that we were doing this by the filing opening period? That this was a change in our
Yeah, we would say, we're doing this, and let's go ahead. Those of you who have declared, come on, bring it on. But we're gonna make our decision, and we're gonna interview everybody, like, say, 1 week after the opening of the filing. That way, it allows time for people who are planning on filing at the last minute, or on the fence about running, or whatever people's concerns are. You know, do you understand what I'm saying?
No.
Okay, there's a window in which people can file. So I think we're hearing a lot of, let's not wait till the first weekend of December, the end of it. But there is a beginning to that window. So we could overlap the beginning of that window. So that would allow people who have not yet announced time to file and get in the mix.
Just for a point of information, it looks like the filing opens up September 27th and it closes December 6th.
That's what I have seen.
September 27th.
All offices, filing period closes, all offices December 6, 2019.
So if we began with an ad hoc committee soon, revising and updating our endorsement form, getting it together, getting it out to the people who have, already declared, interviewing, and so forth, and then we say, but the deadline is September 28th or 29th.
Not the deadline.
The deadline for us, for participating in our process. We could say September 28th or 29th or something like that. That gives them a couple of days to file and get in.
So, can I ask?
Well, I think.
I don't know, I'm trying to understand
Okay.
what she's saying.
All right.
So you're suggesting,
Ian's next.
that, say, the date was what, Caesar? You said the 27th?
27th.
September 27th is what.
So you're suggesting, Karen, then that we have like a couple of days in there that we're allowing people to ask or seek our endorsement? A couple of days after the final period
But it
opens.
extends into that, yeah. Yep. So it doesn't have to include just the people we know about now. It can, say if you haven't announced yet, file your papers.
So what that would do to this proposed timeline, which is just a proposed timeline, is it would back it up to, or move it forward to October meeting instead, which might be better because that would give this committee a longer stretch to interview everybody and make the filing deadline or the request deadline, say a week after September 27th. Then the committee would be able to continue if somebody else pops up in that time frame.
Or we don't have to do it. We could just move forward with this idea, and some people are just not going to be happy.
Yeah. Okay, so Ian?
No matter which way you go, some people are not going to be happy, but
Of course.
I thought it was a good suggestion, so I don't know why, you would be so quick to jump off of it.
Well, because I love the idea.
No, let me just, my point is, it was an excellent suggestion. When I heard Paula first say what she had to say, I didn't hear her say people were bad and they waited till the last day to file it. She was just saying our standard is you wait till it's closed, right? But if we don't want to wait till it's closed, then moving it up makes sense too. And my last point is that it shouldn't just be for this year. It's going to be the same type races 2 years from now, right? So, some supervisors are going to run, that's what I'm saying, if we're going to move it up, just move it up for the primary, right? We're moving up other things for the primaries. My point is, we don't need to have the same discussion 2 to 3 years from now for the other supervisors running in the next term.
Okay.
They're gonna have the same problem.
Okay.
Right.
But for the purposes of this particular proposal, we're just talking about this election.
And
I hear what you're saying.
I just take 51%, I'm throwing out the whole board. If we're gonna work it out for this, we should work it out going forward. It's the same thing.
Yeah.
You know, and if we're just doing it for this right here, then I have to ask myself, are we doing it because we like the people?
Yeah. Well, let me just say, we do have an endorsement subcommittee that's looking at the process, and that's probably where making a bigger decision could come, and then it would come back to the body to make a decision. So I hear that. Can somebody who's not a member speak on this topic? Okay, go ahead. Just checking. My first meeting.
I think the reporting period for finances is like the end of September is one of the big filing times for your finances. And so, you know, even though people think people who haven't filed may not be working, they might. And, you know, and getting a lot of support and things, and then waiting until the next period because of finances. So I think it's you know, great for incumbents and for people who are likely endorsees, I guess. But I think in terms of the democratic process, you know, there may be other people who have strong considerations and are doing a lot of footwork. So the filing period's the end of September, and nobody wants to file at a time when they haven't had a chance to really you know, get all of the economic support that they're going to get.
Okay, great, thank you. David?
I'm looking at Monterey County Elections Department, March 3rd, 2020 presidential primary election calendar. And it says,
Are you looking if you want to run for central committee?
yes.
That's if you're running for central.
Central committee. It says filing period of declaration of candidacy nomination papers on all offices November 12th through December 6th.
Oh, I
All offices?
It
Where did
says
this?
all offices, filing period, declaration of candidacy, nomination papers, all offices, November 12th through December 6th. I'm looking at page 2 of the.
Right, except for central committees, which is due.
Except for central committee, which is September through October, whatever the date was, September 27th through December 6th.
So that's for central committee, so for the supervisors, it's November 12th?
No.
It says November 12th through December 6th, yes.
Is the filing period,
All offices, it says,
except for central committee. Okay, so that would put us pretty late if we waited. Okay. So any other discussion on this, Vince?
I would like to make a friendly amendment to the, I assume, even though we haven't actually discussed the resolution, but let's assume we're discussing the resolution before, which is the wording in here. And I do think, especially given that timeline, we are really harming candidates who are violating or declared a free rate. And that would be at the expense of mythical candidates that come in late and have no chance, frankly. And so I think it would hurt us if we did that. I do think we have an absolutely fail-safe approach here, where we say, let's stick to what the resolution says, but let's insert the language that we have currently in our endorsement process, which says, if the committee finds during the open filing period or at the end of the filing period that, lo and behold, now, you know, again, this mythical creature has arrived and they're better. You know, Elizabeth Warren is relocating and saying, I want to be supervisor here. Then let the committee decide. But that way, we're not hurting anyone. And frankly, that risk, I think, Regina would have taken that, oh, maybe I have to trash my campaign literature now because now my endorsement is revoked. Because it's pretty remote. Well, I mean, we're not going to revoke our endorsements unless somebody does something really strange. So anyway, I would say, you know, with that amendment, maybe that could be supported, and we could support the people that have liability early.
I'd like to move that as a motion.
The friendly
Yeah,
amendment?
what Vince just said.
Okay.
So it's
And-
what's on the agenda plus his last.
Plus his language, okay. And can you, like,
Yeah.
type that and text it to some?
I mean, it's in our current endorsement procedures. We just
Okay,
have
we just have
to-
to
we
grab
just
that
have to lift it and
language.
Put it in there.
Okay, all right. So friendly amendment, second to that, to Alan's? Okay, Caesar? Oh, I'm sorry, David, did you have something about the friendly amendment, or can we vote on that and then?
Well, I was just gonna say that the.
Because we could, I could just say discussion, right?
Yeah, there really isn't any language in the current procedure that calls out early elections. It just talks about the time of the, prior to the election, 156 days, and talks about it in terms of what the filing periods are. So, one thing that I think is somewhat over or not emphasized here is that this endorsement process promises fair and complete hearing of all candidates. And so I want us to, keep in mind that by accelerating or altering this process, that we have to keep in mind at all times that what we're really trying to do is ensure is that every candidate who does submit for endorsement does receive a fair and impartial, to the extent possible, consideration.
Okay, so Vince, the language that you were discussing is not in?
No, it is. The language in our current bylaws says that a currently endorsed individual who's an incumbent, that endorsement extends through the end of the period before the filing period opens.
You mean in the procedure, not in the bylaws.
In the procedures, right, in our endorsement procedures. And that means currently, technically, Luis Alejo is endorsed by us, and so is Mary Adams. Because Jane is not running, in that case, that endorsement actually still valid, but obviously it would be superseded if we made an early endorsement. Because she's not running, it doesn't have any value. And so in that language, we also state that the committee reserves the right, when the period opens, to consider that and then renew it or not renew it. So we can say, yes, Luis Alejo or whoever, you are re-endorsed by the committee, or we can say, no, you're not. We are now changing our mind and we're endorsing somebody else.
Okay, so that would
That's what it
allow the
says.
same process to a new endorsement. Okay. I'm sorry, can we just go down the road? Okay. Paul.
So I just want some clarity on that, Vince. So are we saying that we are going to tell people that when we're giving them this early endorsement, that we are also going to reopen it again, or are we just waiting for somebody else to come forward?
So again, the procedure currently says, it says that for current incumbents, it says that in our bylaws. So, it actually would be kind of unfair if we treated incumbents differently than newcomers. So in some ways, it would be only fair that the same thing applies to newcomers.
So if somebody else filed, they would be considered if they asked to be considered. Like on December 6th, well, December 5th, I guess.
That's not in bylaws, that's in the procedure.
Procedure.
Procedure,
Yeah.
it's different. I guess I'm still not quite understanding that particular portion. I'm not voting, so it's here tonight. Herbert, it rests on your shoulders.
Okay, I see. Dominic and then Herbert.
Our primary moved up because of presidential position. We wanted California to matter in the primaries. And clearly that affects other things in our election cycle. It is what it is. Even if somebody else jumps in, say at the last minute because of the filing deadline, it's not like they're going to be exactly thrilled either, because let's be realistic, they could get endorsed. What was the end of the filing deadline? December 6th?
Yeah.
So that's end of January, unless we somehow met on Christmas. I don't know if everybody's showing up. End of January is realistically then, unless we had a special meeting, is when we do the endorsement. Basically what you're going to tell people is we're going to give you about 6 weeks maybe. Hopefully we get a mailer done before absentees even come out. So I mean, in the real world, even if somebody waited till the last minute, they're not gonna be happy with the timeline. It's just, it's because the primary got moved up. It's impractical for us now. It's the reality. So if we're gonna have anything resembling an effective mailer, anything resembling an endorsement that we talked about, yeah, it's gonna have to go early because, you know, even if we let it stick out according to our rules, we would never do it according to, well, if we did it, we would never put the mail behind it because it wouldn't make sense to do it so late.
Herbert.
Just to follow up on Paula's comment by informing the public, let's say this motion with the friendly amendment passes, are we going to put on our website about this early endorsement process so that the public is aware of our change, as opposed to us going to different city councils might be hard, but that would address Paula's concern about informing the public so everyone is aware of our change.
Yeah, we would, I think, agree that we would do whatever we could to publicize that.
Okay.
Alan?
I would say to speak to that we could have our communications director put out an email blast. That's going to hit thousands of Democrats saying, here, we're going to be endorsing, get the information to us by, and two, we can even put out a press release.
Yeah, that's a great idea. Okay, Ian and then Gary, and then I suggest we, pretty much everybody's spoken, that we move on, or take a vote here.
Mine is pretty easy. Are we including what Karen was suggesting is that week after?
It turns out it was a mistake. I believe that date was a misunderstanding of the calendar according to what David read.
Yeah, so it's November 12th, so if we wanted to move the process up, we wouldn't wait until after November 12th to have the process start, because then we're pretty much up against what we're trying to avoid.
The first answer was September 27th.
Right.
And then, I mean, well, maybe David's wrong. I don't know. So then David said November 12th. Yeah, which would be pretty late.
So I guess for me to understand, so we're not waiting for the period to open?
No, we
Okay, because it's too late, I got it.
Yeah.
I just didn't get it.
We're voting to do it sooner than that.
Yeah, you're right.
Yeah. Okay. And last, who was last was Gary, and then I'm gonna.
So, despite what we do with our endorsement, it's what the candidate does with our endorsement, which they can launch whatever they want to before we do a mailer or anything else.
Right.
And we have considerable resources to bear. I mean, again, the viability issue keeps coming up because if the person's not that viable, they're not going to be able to use our endorsement to their benefit unless they have enough resources, which includes volunteers, not just money, to be able to alert people of the fact that they are the Democratic candidate. And look who else is on the ballot. 20 Democratic candidates running for president. This is I think our endorsement, this is going to be the most important endorsement, I think, for these supervisor candidates if we endorse somebody, because a lot of Democrats are going to be voting because they want to choose a presidential candidate. And by the way, the Democratic Party's endorsed this person in Supervisorial District 1, 2, 3. So it's going to mean a whole lot to the candidate. It's a very meaningful endorsement for us.
Okay, so I'm gonna close off the discussion. Is this like urgent and you're gonna?
Well, for another discussion, with all due respect to Gary's wise words here, we need to talk about the value of this endorsement, what it means to particular campaigns. You know, the last couple of cycles there have been some issues around them, having to pay back into, the cost of mailing and things like that. And so for a campaign that is struggling, what does this endorsement really do for them? We should be looking at somehow funding our endorsement process as well, having funds available for campaigns, meaningful funds.
That's, I think, a different issue, but
Yeah, it
well
is.
taken. Okay, so what we need to do is first approve the friendly amendment, I believe.
Should I read the language?
Should you read the language? Yes, please do.
So, in addition to the language that's in the agenda right now, the last sentence would read, the MCDCC reserves the right to reconsider its endorsement decision after the filing period has been closed for any given race based on the final lineup of candidates for that race. Period.
Okay, so that's what we're voting on right now. So if you are the primary or the alternate and your primary is not present, then you can vote on this friendly amendment. So all in favor, say aye. 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 And opposed?
No.
Okay. So now we need, an abstentions. I'm abstaining. Two abstentions. Two abstentions. And now, somebody move to adopt the entire.
I move we adopt the entire proposal.
Okay, second?
Who seconded?
Caesar.
It was me.
So again, if you're the primary or the alternate whose primary is not present, you may vote. All in favor of the entire discussion? Oh, sorry, discussion. I thought we had it already.
So in the hypothetical, we've granted, or we've given the endorsement to a candidate, and they've taken it and they've gone off to the races and they've done television and publications and whatnot. And then Mother Teresa shows up and we say, no, she was the one. Does that original candidate, do we extend to them the provision to keep using those materials? Does he have to reprint? Does he have to reshoot his commercials?
Is it a dual endorsement?
No, we're not doing it.
I have comments on that, okay. I guess that would be something to decide, yes.
Okay, I have a quandary here because two people whose opinion means a lot to me, I find that I'm on the opposite side because I'm going to vote for this unless I hear something different in the next couple of minutes. So what I would say then is, as long as we're very clear about what the endorsement entails, including Vince's clarification of adding that wording, then the people know they're taking a risk. How much do they want to run with our endorsement, knowing there is a chance that upon the closing of the filing, it could change? So I would say it goes on to them in that regard. Do they want to shoot a commercial? How many pieces of literature do they want to? So as long as we can be clear that that's it, and I would ask that we have them sign to that statement, so we are not, they don't try and pull anything about how much money they spent and yada yada. So that's what I would say. Yeah, that's what I would say, that they have a choice how much they want to invest and roll out, given the fact that it could change.
And I think it's really hypothetical and hardly that it would happen. But I think to be clear and to make the procedure as transparent as possible, that language has to be somewhere in the procedures as well. I mean, it has to be very clearly declared because we have no remedy. We have, short of a lawsuit, we have no way of having them cancel these materials.
Yeah.
So once that ship has sailed, they can pretty much do what they want.
Yeah. Okay, I'm going to say 30 seconds now. Can you time, because we've kind of exhausted this. Go ahead.
So, speaking from, there's a lot of elected officials in the room, and we're not gonna have a problem. We're gonna use the endorsement, and if we have to stop, we'll stop, but I'm gonna use it all the way to the very end if I could, And so I don't think that's gonna be an issue. I really don't think it's gonna be an issue.
Okay, 30 seconds, Lavon.
Okay. What would be the criteria for electing these people and supporting the people in the office? My question is that going to be part of the selection process, or we'll just select them in the office because?
Okay. Linda?
I think my concern is going back to what Karen said, by putting that statement out there, you're taking a risk, loses the value of the endorsement. And is that where we want to be? We have an endorsement process that doesn't have much.
Might seem wishy-washy.
Yes. Right.
I haven't thought about that. I mean, we have a process currently of stripping individuals of their endorsement in our bylaws. This is the equivalent of
Procedures.
in our procedures, thank you. This is the equivalent of that process. Now, it actually, we can do dual endorsements, our endorsement procedures say that, but I'm not suggesting that would be the case here. Again, I think we are running the risk of making the perfect the enemy of the good, or actually in some ways the likely the enemy of the very unlikely. And so I would still suggest that candidates know that yes, anyone can be stripped by this committee. This is embarrassing to anyone involved, including this committee, to strip someone of an endorsement. It is extremely unlikely. It takes a lot. So anyway, I would suggest that's not a big risk.
Okay. 30 seconds, Paul.
Okay, just to add to the information pool here, the dual endorsements, I've talked to the Rules Committee at the state, and they've said over and over again, no. And so we're going to be taking that out, hopefully. I'm assuming you will be doing that in your recommendation. And then, what was the other thing? Oh my God, I can't even remember now. The dual endorsement.
Okay.
I'm done.
All right. So,
Oh, I do remember. The other thing is that they said, as I understood from the Rules Committee, that if we are changing our endorsement policy, they want that in writing from us by October, because they have to approve it by November. So be careful what you put in there, because they may or may not approve it based on whether or not it's in agreement with their own rules. So that's all.
that's the state party.
Right, and if I may, not approving means we are able to make those endorsements. It just means the state, it's not a state party endorsement, it's our
It's our
endorsement. So
only our endorsement.
it's not the end of the world if they don't approve, but obviously we want to get their approval, I
Yeah,
agree.
right. Okay, so close of discussion. And now we're going to vote on this proposal, whether or not to move up our endorsement process as amended by Vince's friendly amendment. Okay, so all in favor? Maybe, let's do raise of hands, just in case anybody should question it. So any primary or alternate who's voting in favor, raise your hand. And Caspian's going to count.
Somebody's got to count.
Caspian's counting.
Some people know, right there. Still don't count.
18.
Yeah, and now we'll do no. Okay, and opposed? 1, 2,
3.
3, okay. Let's see, who's the third?
And abstentions?
And abstentions?
I need more clarification.
On what? I'm sorry, Lamont.
No, I'm saying.
She's abstaining.
I'm abstaining.
You're abstaining
Because
because you need more clarification. Okay, got it. So I'm abstaining and Lamont, so that's 2.
2 abstain.
And the vote was?
18 approval.
Okay.
What was it?
So, pardon me, 18 approved. Ian, was there a question that I missed? Oh, okay, all right, okay. So, it's unfortunate that 2 of the people who said no are involved in the process. But, okay, so, that may impact that. Okay, so let's move on for now. So who's the committee? Okay. Well,
There's no oath of office for an officer.
yes. Well, I put my name down there because I wasn't sure. No. But so are the other 2 people here? So these are the folks who have said yes so far for this committee are Linda Bino and Herbert. Was that a yes?
I'll say yes.
Yes. Catherine. And Donna Hepburn, who's on the committee before, who's not present today. I also asked Anthony, and I think he was going to get back to me. And David, I don't want to put you on the spot. You replied yes? Okay, so David. Anybody else aching to be on that committee?
What do you
The endorsement committee.
do?
Okay, and Marty, who were you on it last time as
Yeah, perfect, okay, great.
So,
So that's good, that's about 3 and 3, District 20, or at least,
is that where I can get the clarification from, on the committee?
possibly.
You can clarify.
Depends on what you want.
Then I'll be one.
Okay. So, let's have, but when the meeting's over, can we have a quick get together of those folks and help you get a timeline to get started? Okay. Linda agreed to co-chair, so we'll have to ask for somebody who's willing to be her co-chair. David was co-chair last time. Are you willing to co-chair with Linda? Okay, all right.
Excuse me, Ms. Linda.
So raise your hand if you're on the committee so everybody can see each other. All right, and Donna Heffer, who's not here.
Who's from
And Anthony. Okay, so state party matters. Report on the state e-board meeting. Can we make these reports really, really brief? Like a minute. 1 minute. 1 minute. Gary?
Well, Elena invited me to do it to the county chairs meeting on Friday, which was,
Thank you, Captain.
that's my business. Really, it's quite a two-step event. I mean, it was, it seemed to me that you're overhauling the state party and they asked us a lot of questions. What do we need? What's the, so, it seemed like there's a whole new game coming, and that a lot of training, maybe some resources, more resources than we've gotten before. Though they didn't sort of commit to that, other than training. They had the person that led the session for all day Friday was a trainer. So I think we're going to be seeing that kind of resources coming our way in terms of the state party providing more, not necessarily cash, but in kind of help to us. Of course, we made our complaints known from past collaborations with the state party, door hanger, but also just other things that I know the state party used to do for local county committees. So both Elena and I think wrote in detail quite a few things. How our relationship could be improved.
Thank you. Dan, did you want to report anything?
Yeah, just I'll give you a little bit of a peek at the ethos. It was the most laid back one I think I've seen in ages. Probably because, well, we were introducing a new party chair, and I think a lot of people were sort of waiting to see what that's going to mean, as Trump might have said, we'll just see what happens. So I think there was a lot of curiosity, but not a lot of passion. And but it was good movie. I was pleased that there was a very push toward the left, toward the progressive kinds of life. And
one more quick.
Okay. A few of the DNC members came to the meeting this time. Their own meeting was in San Francisco, and they came very angry because the DNC had pushed back the California delegation's DNC on putting on a debate on environmental issues. But they did, the ones coming out of that meeting told us to be on alert for helping Arizona this next time around. Thank you. Yeah, great. Karen?
Yes, I volunteered Saturday morning. It was very interesting. I think that I'd like to suggest that we write a letter of congratulations from our central committee to the new chair. I think that he came across as like, Dad's here, I'm not a raging alcoholic or a molester, and we're gonna be fine, right? But he also was so dry, but I got it because I think he was just trying to be stable and calm, and he was really solid. And I think, and we're gonna be fine, and I kept imagining what it would be like if there was a dynamic, powerful, Black woman there as our leader, and I will accept and follow the leader we have.
Great. Dominic and then David.
So just a few things. First off, the past chair of the African American Caucus, Derek Barber, passed away after repeated cancer. There was an election held to elect a new chair. So Taisha Brown is now the chair of the African American Caucus. We heard. And Mr. Phillips, it was a spirited race. It was a good race. There was no bad stuff going on said afterwards. There was congratulatory notes all around. As Jan said, there was a lot of emotion over the pushback by the DNC on the climate debate. All California DNC members have voted for it, except for two. That would be Alex Rooker, our dear vice chair of the state party. If I remember the guy's name right.
Bob Mulholland.
Bob Mulholland. For those interested, if you are the central committee's one of the delegates to the state party DNC elections from California, that'll be held in spring. So that's something that'll open up to consider if you want to go to Milwaukee. You'll have to stay in Illinois. Apparently our delegation is seated. Yeah, the hotel's 2 hours away.
Yes,
From where it's there to go. The other interesting thing, I think Esther might be interested, a renters caucus is trying to get recognized by the state party. But right now it's not officially recognized by the state party, so there's a bit of a battle going on with that in terms of them trying to get it established. A few bylaw changes, bylaws were amended so that they're gender neutral. We're kind of having a fight with the DNC over that because their verbiage does not allow for gender neutrality in their language. So they're still on the, you identify as him, her, or other. So that's kind of a fight right now as well. One last bylaw update, the party, and I'd have to double check on it, but the party now may be able to actually, with the chair's direction, put resources into supporting actual legislation in the state capitol. This certainly makes legislators nervous. Before, we would only endorse governor, lieutenant, and state offices and propositions. The party might be getting a little involved now on legislation, say AB 1482, rent caps. That's a whole new ballgame because that's a lot of resources that can be pivoted there. So that might have came on as well. I got verified.
Okay. And David, one
Yes,
minute.
okay. I was able to go to the Road Services Committee meeting, and in the past, they were broken up by subjects, but now they've decided to try to divide the state into 4 smaller areas, and hopefully that will work better, especially with outreaching to county offices, the Democratic offices. So they're going to try something, hopefully that will be better served.
Okay. And were you at that meeting? I'm sorry, Lavon, this is just a report.
I understand, but I joined that committee when I was there and I just want to say one thing.
Okay.
The state of Oregon, the lady governor there, they declared they have rent control, and they declared that there'll be affordable housing for every Oregonian. Everybody who lives in Oregon should have a right to have affordable housing that they can afford.
So when you do your presentation on housing, bring that up, okay? That is Yeah, so I'm going to give up my minute, just in the interest of finishing and just echo what everybody else said. I was there, it was fun, it was great. Okay, the next thing, they did announce where the convention is. It's going to be in Long Beach. And if you are a delegate, the lodging information will be on the website starting September 9th. I recommend if you're going that you get on there on September 9th because otherwise it will be gone. And they did list 3 hotels. One, I don't remember 2 of them, but one of them was the Queen Mary. So I'm going on the minute of September 9th, and Jan and I are going to be on the Queen Mary. So I hope to see you there, floating by. I'm going to report on the county fair. We're like 99% covered, so thank you to everybody. PDA and DCMP both took a day, and our wonderful volunteer coordinator, Christine, got us a full retinue of people, and Holly and I and 2 other new volunteers are going to be setting up tomorrow. So come on down to the fair. Bill Monning's going to be there one day. Robert Rivas and Jimmy Panetta will be there. I think they overlap by an hour or so. So we're anxious to do that. Next debate watch, DCMP. Do you want to wait and do that at the club time? Okay, we'll have that. And same with PDA. We'll hear your hosting. Speaker agenda, we already talked about that. DNC report, Dominic already gave that, and I did attach a report by one of our DNC members that you can read. It was pretty interesting reading. So, yes?
Just under this one announcement.
Yes.
We signed up to have a booth at the Labor Day.
Oh, right.
Event
Forgot about
in
that. Thank you.
Watsonville, Cable, a booth.
Right.
For the Art Center.
Great. And do you have helpers for that, Gary, or do you still need people?
We need a few folks to help set up.
Okay.
Staff.
So see Gary if you can help with that on Labor Day. Okay, Democratic clubs, Dem women.
I guess I'll give the
Okay,
update
thanks.
since Chris is not here. Just to let everybody know, we're very pleased to announce our 10th annual luncheon for sustainable change. That's our big fundraiser of the year, and that's Sunday, September 29th, 1 to 4 p.m. So please, if you're able to attend, I mean, it's not, as I said, I think last time, it's not $20 or $30. It is a considerable amount of money, but it helps us, enables us to actually give real money to candidates. And I'm also pleased to announce that this year we are actually acknowledging 2 people who we believe have put in tireless efforts to continue sustaining democracy. And one of those people is our very own Karen Araujo. So congratulations. As being the co-recipient along with George Wiley. So I think
Are you sold out for the events this week on Thursday?
Yes, I didn't even mention that. Adam Schiff is coming to our club on Friday. It is completely sold out. It was for members only, Dem women members only. We encourage all of you to sign up for $40 a year. We have a capacity crowd of 150 people coming to the Hilton.
Now, is there not a fundraiser for him that night also, or is that separate?
It's separate, it's a private event,
Oh,
so
okay.
if you sponsor at certain levels, I think they may have started at 250, the 250 level. But our luncheon on Friday, we were offering that luncheon at regular member prices, 35 for members, 45 for non-members, so we're going to leave it.
Well, if you have anybody who bails, let us know. You have an empty seat somewhere.
I think it'll be just the opposite.
Yeah, I'm sure. Okay. Linda, DCMP.
Okay, so we are continuing with our soapbox situations, and they're going very, very well. The next one is on the 19th of this month. We had a few more people who show up. I think Omar came, which was kind of nice. Still would like to see some of you guys there. It's really important for our clubs to be supported by this committee, I think, or by this central committee. I'm really pushing for my club to support all of the other clubs, because I think when we get down to troops, we really are going to need each other. And so I'll say that. We also are hosting the debate night. We're going to try something new. We're having it at the Mountain Mike's Pizza in Elena. It's a big venue. We have a lot of games going on. We're trying to bring in the youth, so the schools are back in. We offer them free pizza. I think that would be quite fun to bring them in and they'll get to see what we're doing. Other thing.
And the time on that? registration primarily.
So we say a table at the corner at the market. Come on down and help us. We might get tired. There's only a few of us, so if you can support us, I appreciate it.
We got a couple of volunteers to direct your way that contacted the central committee.
Oh, good, okay.
And I referred them to the fair, but they can't do that.
Yeah, but we put all of our information out on constant contact. We even put all of your club information on constant contact, because we're really trying to generate some kind of unity in this, county.
Perfect. Okay, Selena's Valley Dems, anything to report?
Linda left, I didn't go to the last meeting, however, we did get together for Jack's birthday. Linda left, so I wasn't able to attend the last meeting.
Okay, okay. So if you find out anything, maybe send me an email so we can put it in our next information. Marina Dems.
We are having a general leadership meeting in September, October. We'll let you know when that's going to be. But reserved Saturday, October 31st, we are planning in cooperation with Citizens for Just Water, a bus trip, yay, to Half Moon Bay to speak to the Coastal Commission. We may ask for a small, $5 or $1 contribution. We think the buses may be gratis at this time, but we're still working that out. But we really need a speaker, someone to come and talk about the injustice of the Callahan desal project. So I'll have more information at our next meeting.
Good. All right, great. And Progressive Dems. Gary, no?
Yeah, I'll defer to the president, president.
So Progressive Dems had our second estate sale, and we made about $700. And we still have a lot of things tucked away underneath the cubby over there to see for see. A lot of really cool stuff. Take a look.
It's all for sale.
It's all for sale. You got to move the refrigerators, So there's a lot, it's a lot of really wonderful things. So at some point we'll have another retail politics sale to support our Center for Change and other activities. So on the 4th, September 4th, we're doing postcarding, which is probably not a verb, I'm making it a verb, so postcarding to a district in North Carolina that's up on the 10th, and also button making for people with bad handwriting skills. And then on the 12th, on Thursday at the C4C, we're having a debate watching party with lots of cool things happening.
And we're targeting the older people, not the younger people, so we're not going for the same thing.
Yeah,
Same crowd.
Forget younger people. No, we got it. We'll see. I think it's very interesting. It's going to be 2 debate watching parties the same evening, but I think we're the up and coming thing. I think we can easily fill 2 rooms.
Okay, well, let's hope so. If it doesn't work out that way, we want to re-examine that down the road. CDEMs. Oh, Ian left. Anybody else know anything about CDEMs? Okay. So committee updates, and we'll again, sorry, I have nothing. Oh, for credentials?
Yes.
Okay, finance actually is first. Caspian, you want to give a quick rundown, or do we have everything in writing pretty much?
Most everything is in writing, so if you have any specific questions, you can email me or otherwise get in contact with me. The gist is our short-term financial concerns are no longer the case because we have been bringing in large amounts of money for the October event. We have received almost $5,000 in donations, and we have promised almost another $5,000. 5,000 promised, almost 5,000 received.
Okay.
And in hand.
So, all right, great. And okay. Issues. So included was a proposal about public banking. I hope everybody had a chance to look at that. Gary, do you want to give us a minute on that? Bill's not here on why we should support that.
Only Bill will do that.
Yeah.
I mean, the resolution is pretty self-explanatory. And this is California. It's persisting.
It's a Well, it's quick. The turnaround is they're going to be voting on it, I think, at the end of this month. So they were asking that if we could do something really quickly. It's Assembly Bill 857. So that would actually be something we need to vote on. Or if the Issues Committee is saying we should support this resolution.
Yes.
Okay.
Consensus.
Okay. So any questions about that for Barry? You had a chance. Of course, now I'm wondering, can we vote? Because we don't.
We still have 20 people.
We still have 20 people. Okay. Okay, so we still have quorum. That's why I was just checking. Okay. So any questions for Gary quickly about this public banking resolution? Well, it was sent in advance, and we didn't print it. It's to support public banking. It's a resolution in support of California State Assembly Bill 857. And it would be to support public banking.
Do you want a motion or? Is
Yeah, then I think we would need a motion.
Support the resolution.
Well, it's not commercial. It'd be like a nonprofit, I suppose. I don't know. The old savings and loans kind of.
Not saying.
No.
But yes, to bring the public forward, we're taxed.
Yeah. Right. Okay. So. Okay. Question, Karen?
Yes, I would just like to say that if the Issues Committee has consensus on this, which I understand they do, I will be voting in favor of it because it's urgent time-wise, and I found them to be consistent in upholding our values and making good recommendations.
Great.
So I will be voting in favor of it.
Okay. Any questions?
Well, Alan just told me that is to help people like me be able to borrow money and do something. That I'm all for that.
Great.
I just want to know where it is.
Oh, well, it doesn't exist yet. This is a resolution.
It's not even
to
legal
start
right
that.
now, believe it or not. This is make it legal.
Yeah, this is to make it legal. Okay, great. Okay, so do we have a motion to? Okay.
I'll second it too. I third.
Somebody, we got a lot of seconds there. Pick one, Joe.
Yeah, I'll second that.
All right, any more discussion before we vote? Okay, so all in favor of supporting this resolution about the issue of public banking, supporting public banking, say aye. Aye. Opposed? Abstentions? One abstention? Okay, we didn't
Carl, are you
hear.
abstaining?
I abstain.
Abstain?
Did you abstain? No.
No, you voted in favor?
Okay, so it passes. We need to figure out how to get it to them ASAP. I think we could probably do it via email. I have a contact person. Okay. I will, yes, I will. Okay, development. So I know this can be hard for you to be brief, but be brief, David. About the fall fundraiser.
Some of the good news. Our committee, has given some people the call from the e-board calling, so we have these assignments to call people about the luncheon, and that's to do that. We also have a Thursday night, we're also going to meet to do that. So if anybody's interested in helping us, Thursday night, I believe, at 6 o'clock?
6 to 8, I think.
6 to 8, yeah. Just call, we will have some names for you to call. So hopefully not too many, because someone's already calling and we're getting some positive.
Right. And I want to congratulate Karen for bringing in, I think, the first donation of $2,500.
Well, it was a full table.
A full table.
Yes.
Okay. And
Sheet metal workers.
Sheet metal workers. Yay.
And building and trades, construction trades will take it up. Ron's not here tonight. We'll be taking that up at their next meeting.
Okay, great. And I know PDA has already given $750 and DCMP, we don't have an exact figure, but they're going to adopt several. 1,200. Ooh, yeah. Okay.
So yeah, so if you can come Thursday night, please come to the C4C and help us make some phone calls.
Great. And some individuals have donated, and but we're looking for the sponsorships as well.
Everyone has an invitation, right? We'll send that electronically to everybody on the committee so that you can use it to invite people to attend with you or to,
It's been a while, Gary, I think, since it's been a while. I recall seeing the invitation, but it's been quite some time. Is it possible to, I apologize, to resend it to everyone
Yes.
so we can keep forwarding it?
Yeah, because we have updated information too.
Sorry.
No, that's okay. No, you're right. You're absolutely right. Hang on just one second. So Gary, we should announce that we have a keynote speaker, which is, do you want to say? Mark Stone. Yeah, Assembly Member Mark Stone. And John Laird is going to be the auctioneer and possibly the MC, I'm not sure. That was up to. So, yes, Gary, then I had one other thing.
I remember when I did go and round up quite a few auction items that have been packaged into 3 or 4 groups that make sense together, including 4 like getaways, like to Cambria, to Mexico, to Bear Valley. There's several, pretty good sort of anchor items in this, but we still need gift certificates, gift baskets, services, things like, actually the Salvador Dali Museum donated a $250 gift basket from their museum. So just challenging people to think of things or people that provide a service, a business person that can donate a gift certificate, a gift basket, or a service, something like massage. That's one of the ones we have. Wine bottles, local wineries, things like that. We could package them together.
Great. And my challenge to myself and to all of you is to invite your friends, your family to attend, and maybe you can purchase, half the table yourselves, individual. We love the sponsorships from labor and the clubs, but the use of the money is 2 different things. So if you as an individual purchase a ticket plus 4 other people that you encourage, then that goes into our federal account, which is what pays for our mailer. And we could spend a lot of time talking about that. But anyway, my challenge to all of you is to try and invite 3 or 4 or 5 of your friends and family who would, love to go and hang out for a couple hours with a beautiful view of the bay at the Tides restaurant. So I think, and Dave, you already talked about the phone bank, so we'll skip that. Anything else? So we will resend that with the announcement of Mark Stone as our speaker, and then we will be sending, I'm sort of skipping into communications for Tyler, because he's not here, he has a brand new job, and it's taking his evenings. And we will be sending e-blasts regularly, starting as soon as possible. Campaign, Gary, I think the main thing is we need committee members for campaign. We haven't met for a while, right? So we don't really have anything to report. But if you want to be on the campaign committee, that's key. See Gary. And facilities. So what we really need related to facilities, it's a 2-part thing, or at least it's worked this way before. Our volunteer coordinator, the amazing Christine Miller, unless I can figure out a way to bribe her with, I don't know what, massages or something, is scheduled to resign. She did the fair. So we really need a volunteer coordinator, and that person in the past has helped with facilities in terms of at least the maintenance, not all the things on that wish list. So if you are anxious to get involved with helping recruit volunteers, please let me know, and I'll put you in touch with Christine, and she will provide you with everything that she's used and more. Bylaws review, Paula, do you have anything to report tonight?
I'm going to be very quick. I'm not going to go through the whole thing. We gave an interim report the last time to the board, and we're almost complete. We've got a straight-out version, we have a clean copy, we have some other recommendations, there's some changes in the policies. So what I would say is I will probably not be here at September's meeting, so I'm hoping to get this forward into the e-board. Maybe it can be reviewed at the September meeting, but I'm hoping we can get it adopted by October, because one of the most important things, other than grammar and consistency, is that there's a change to the day of the organizational meeting, which impacts how we proceed to elect officers and seat people and things like that. due to the change in the primaries, it's really important to try to get this done.
So that it can go to the state party for.
We've met
right?
7 times and people have done a lot of work. We've made about 65 and then it's
And for
a lot
that,
on here.
would it be in the September meeting or the October meeting that we would want to give you a little more time than a minute?
I won't be here.
Or somebody on your committee, if
I
not.
won't be here in December.
But in September, that should be happening.
So I'm hoping that once I forward this to the e-board, the e-board can look at it. If there's any questions, I'll try to answer them.
Okay.
I'll be stateside at that point.
Okay.
But I will be back for the October meeting so that we
Okay.
can hash it through a little bit more than everything too.
Okay, great. And endorsement process
Real
review, Dave?
quick, I'd like to thank Karen and Alex for their dedication and thought on this. And just tell you that it's been rough sliding, but we can get this done because we've got to advance the timeline on this. So I'm proposing a meeting next Friday, the 6th, with the Senate changes open for the final draft review, plans and changes, and to incorporate the new language that we just discussed tonight. Anyone, especially, and also it will be an informal first meeting of the endorsement committee. So anybody who raised their hand for the endorsement committee, if you can make it next Friday, that would be greatly appreciated.
Okay, and if the center is available, David. So
6 o'clock?
6 o'clock, I can do that right now.
So last meeting of the endorsement process review group, first meeting of the endorsement committee.
Possible last meeting.
Possible, okay, yep. I'm willing to hang in there. We have some set kind of for this time.
Yes.
So really we're relieved of some pressure.
Yes, well, there is always the nuclear option. We could forego that and just continue with the current adopted procedures and then move the process down, kick the can down the road and take up the formal review process procedures after the election cycle is gone. Because, you know, we really want to take that on now and get into the process.
Okay, good, thank you. Great, so September 6th, 6 o'clock, right? At the Center for Change in Seaside. Okay, future agenda items, if you'll send those. I wrote some things down, like the dues that Regina brought up and a few other things. But if other things come up, please email, can I say Joe for that? And you'll let me know. And next meeting, September 24th in Seaside, executive board meeting on the 18th of September.